let's take a look at just how powerful our invitation is. In Elite Classic, there are a total of 15 participants. The process begins by giving a one-time unconditional gift of $100. If you go to the website, click the resource link, go down to the Classic model, you'll see a diagram of what the Classic cycle looks like with a little black arrow in the lower right-hand corner. Click the arrow and follow the progression through the Classic cycle. It shows you coming into the Giving 4 phase, sending a gift to the receiver, graduating from the Giving 4 phase to the Inviting 2 phase, then you inviting your first 2 invitees. They come to Giving 3 and 4, send their gift to the receiver. That progresses you to the Empowering 1 phase, with your 2 invitees in the Inviting 1 and Inviting 2 phases. Then your invitees invite their first two participants. We call them grand invitees. They send their gift to the receiver. That progresses you from the Empowering 1 phase to the Receiving phase. Your first 2 invitees from the Inviting 1 and 2 phase to the Empowering 1 and 2 phase. And your grand invitees from Giving 1 through 4 to Inviting 1 through 4. Now you're in line to receive 8 gifts, 1 each from 8 separate individuals. Now let's ask the question, if you begin the process by giving a one-time unconditional gift of $100, what has to happen for you to receive your first gift of $100 back? Okay, you invite one person who invites one person who invites one person who gifts you. I'm going to say that again. You invite one person who invites one person who invites one person who gifts you. So, let's say Frank invites Bob, who invites Sue, who invites Jim, who gifts Frank. That can happen in minutes. That can happen in hours. That can happen in days. That can happen in months. The choice is up to you. But if you go back to that first question that I asked you earlier about what do you have to do in your JOB to receive $100 net, that means after taxes, after road rage, after raunchy bosses, after raunchy customers, all the rest of it, after daycare, all that stuff. If you sit down and figure out what you have to do to receive $100 net, and you compare that equation to the Classic model, I promise you folks, the Classic model will outperform hands down. You invite someone who invites someone who invites someone who gifts you. That's exciting. That's empowering. That's fantastic. And it can happen in minutes. And you can consistently do it over and over and over and over again. Okay, so you reach the receiving phase. You're in line to receive 8 gifts. Alright, when you receive your 4th gift, so since we started with the Classic 100 model, we've now received our 4th gift, so we've got 4 $100 gifts. We now have $400 in our hand. We take 250 of that and go forward to the next cycle in the series. Now I invite you to look at this process, folks, like you are farming. You are planting seeds for a future harvest without end. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is to eat your seeds. Make a commitment to take the first several gifts you receive on every cycle and save them as your seeds. In the Classic model, the only progression that takes more than 2 gifts is the first from the Classic 100 to Classic 250. From there, every time you go forward to a new cycle, it never takes more than 2 gifts. So just make a commitment to yourself to take the first 2 gifts, take the first 3 on the Classic 100, and then after that, promise yourself, take the first 2 gifts you receive on any cycle and tuck them away, they're your seed, to go forward to the next cycle. So you received your 4th gift. You've now gone forward to the 250. Alright, so now you're a receiver in a Classic 100. You've received 4 $100 gifts. You've taken 250 of it. You've gone forward to the Classic 250. You have $150 left over that's yours. Alright, you still have 4 more gifts to come before that cycle completes. As soon as you receive your 6th gift, you go forward, you go back and re-enter another cycle of the same class. So make it a point to take the first 2 gifts and save them for your seed, and take either the 5th or the 6th gift. I'd say the 5th. The best strategy is to take the 5th gift and save it for your seed. So you've always got something to re-enter, so that by the time you accept your 6th gift, you're automatically ready to go back and re-enter another cycle of the same class. If you'll follow this strategy, folks, you will reach the place where you can be at the receiving phase of every cycle at the same time multiple times. And that's where you'll begin to experience abundance pressed down, shaken together, and running over to make room for more, poured into your lap, all that you can hold. Alright, so we've received our 6th gift. We've gone back and re-entered another cycle of the same class. So we've gone back and re-entered another Classic 100. We still have 2 gifts left to come. So we've received $600. We took 250 and went forward to Classic 250. We took 100, went back to another Classic 100. That's 350 from the 600 that we've got. We've got 250 left over that's ours. Plus we still have 2 gifts left to come. Plus we have another Classic 100 already in process and a Classic 250 already in process. Are you beginning to see the power of our incredible gift? And this is just classic. Alright, as you continue to invite, and I go back to my previous question of, if you had a cure for poverty, which you do, how are you going to share it? I invite you to share it with every person you possibly can. Don't fall into the trap of saying, well, I've invited 2, now it's time to stop. Invite, 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 invite. The more you give, the more you will receive. The system is designed to track hundreds of personal invitees and to track hundreds and hundreds of cycles. Our tracking system, our accountability system, our communication system will literally track everything for you. So you are freed up so that 100% of your energies can be available to invite. You don't have to worry about anything. So you continue to invite. The more invitees you have, the faster you move through your cycles. After you've invited your first 2 in Classic, you don't have to wait for them to invite their first 2. You yourself could go out and invite 4 more. And you don't have to wait for those 4 to invite their 2. You yourself could go out and invite 8 more and completely gift yourself off your first cycle and already be forward on the 250 and back on the 100, plus have 14 personal invitees that are following you from cycle to cycle to cycle. That's power, folks. Continue to invite. Okay, so the way the progression works in Classic is we go forward on our 4th gift, we go back on our 6th gift. The strategy is save your first 2 gifts and your 5th gift as your seed. Tuck it away. Put it in an envelope. It is off limits for the power bill, the phone bill, food, and everything else. It's your seed. If you'll do that, you will always have what it takes to build for a bountiful harvest. Now you can follow that same progression from the Classic 250 to the Classic 500, from the Classic 500 to the Classic 1000, from the Classic 1000 to the Classic 2000, from the Classic 2000 to the Classic 4000, from the Classic 4000 to the Classic 6000, and eventually find yourself at the receiving phase and receiving gifts on all 7 Classic cycles at the same time, multiple times. Imagine what your life